Hey everyone, it's Presley at ActOutGames.com here, and today we're going to the Nature and Science Museum to speak with an Egyptologist with some of our Egypt class, because some aren't here right now. So, yeah, I'll see you there.
This is Jeff, and my job here at the museum isn't about archaeology or Egypt. My job is to take care of all of the modern biology. So I am in charge of all of the mammals and all the birds and all the insects and all the spiders and all the seashells, arachnids, and right, all of it, and plants too. But I started out in my studies I was going to be an archaeologist. Now what I do is, you can sit if you would like. It's called experimental archaeology, and we actually recreate ancient Egyptian material objects using what we know about ancient Egyptian techniques and their tools. We actually made that scroll, which is drawn on papyrus, and that's a copy, an exact copy of one of the scrolls from the 18th dynasty. It's from what's called the Book of the Dead, which is, this one is many, many, many panels long. That's only two of the panels, and that shows some really, probably the coolest part of the Book of the Dead, where it's called the weighing of the heart ceremony. You guys know about that? One of the main thing about being an ancient Egyptian, the main thing is to be resurrected into what we might call the afterlife, or into the next world. That was how all ancient Egyptians organized their society. And everybody had a thought, we'll live on if we do certain things. And one of those things was to be a good person, because the weighing of the heart ceremony is, your heart is taken by Anubis and put on a scale. It's weighed against the feather of the goddess whose name is Ma'at. Have you heard of Ma'at? She's the goddess of truth, justice, and the Egyptian way. Literally. And if your heart weighed more than that feather, in other words, if you had a lot of cares, or if you did not so good things, and the scales tipped and your heart weighed more, there was a really pretty nasty, the devourer, whose name is Ammit, and she's part crocodile, her front. Her middle is lion, so she's part lion, and her back half, back third, is hippopotamus. So she's made up of three animals, and she's always hungry. And if that scale tips, she snarfs up that heart, and you don't get to go into the afterlife. So be good. That's the message. It's be good for goodness sake. Which is not a bad message. It comes down to it. Akhenaten was one of the most interesting periods of time, because he said, we don't need all these gods. All we need is the one God. And that was the Aten, the sun. He built a whole new city called Akhetaten down in what is now Amarna. And I actually got to do work there, which is really cool. But, and now archaeologists are digging up commoners' graves, because so much of ancient Egypt was focused on all these rulers, and we didn't know a whole lot about the common people. And with some of my experiments and some of the digging that's being done, we're actually filling out the story of ancient Egypt. And then Akhenaten's son is a guy named Tutankhamun. And then after Tutankhamun, there weren't any pharaohs in the 18th dynasty.
People used to take mummies from the sites.
And do you know what they did with them?
They just displayed them in their house?
They displayed them in the house, and then there was a period of time when the mummies were taken and used, ground up. Can you imagine? Here's a mummy, it's a person, right, from 3,000 years ago or more. And they would grind them, and then they would sell that product in little jars as medicine. It's not medicinal. And other times I would take them, and when a mummy is dried out, it's very dry, but it was also wrapped in linen, and then that was covered in resin. And that means it burned well. And so a lot of mummies went into the ancient Egyptian railroad locomotives to haul the sugar cane, which is not great. So we did lose a lot of information that way. Question?
So, when you're talking about arrowheads, it reminds me, my friend Sophie were at a creek, and she found a rock that was oddly shaped, and she took it to her mom, and we actually found out she had an arrowhead with her. So she had like a real arrowhead she just found randomly in a creek. So that land might...
Okay, you can pass that around. That's a real arrowhead, but did I dig that up out of the ground? I made that. That's part of my experimental archaeology. So I make stone tools as well as other things. So, but that's a real arrowhead. Now, did somebody 400 years ago put it on an arrow and use it to hunt for game? Nope. When I was doing experiments, yes, I did. My very first bow was not the best, but and one of my professors said, this arrow won't shoot straight, so I took it out in my in the backyard in San Diego, and I didn't think I would actually be successful, but yes, I got a rabbit, and I immediately took it home, skinned it, cooked it. It was awful because what it was eating was not like domestic rabbits, but acquired taste once again. It's kind of a sagey taste. So in my book, if you kill something, you probably should be prepared to eat it.
So it was really, really fun, and I learned a lot, and I'm really glad they took some time just to talk to us and tell us about Egyptology. And it was really cool, and there was so much he talked about and we learned about that I decided to make a whole nother video which has everything in it. So there's going to be an annotation right there and a link in the description for those of you who want to watch it. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!